afternoon to ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mrs. Kadiatou Diallo, and I have many hats on my head. One is I'm the president of the Amadou Diallo Foundation. The second hat is I'm a member of an NGO that is based in New York City and nationwide called Pottal, Bhantal. And the other hat is that I'm a online radio blogger. I work with my colleagues here, which are here, Mrs. Aissatou Ba, Yebe Ba, Binta, Madina, and Aissatou Bane. We recently have, I'm from Guinea, Republic of Guinea, Conakry. Today the issue is about women in rural area, about preserving, helping them to get access to clean natural water. But I'm going to develop a general issue that Guinea is going through in a concise manner. I promise that I won't be long. So, it's a bittersweet privilege to be in this assembly to speak on behalf of women in my country, Guinea, that are living in urban areas under depressing conditions. Guinea has a long history of political repression that victimizes the weakest among the populations, women in urban areas. Needless, it is to relate again the rape of hundreds of women in daylight during the September 28, 2009 massacre. The very fact that these crimes remain unpunished speaks of the plight of women in urban areas and the need of drastic measures to assist them. The long history of political repression in our country has permeated the whole society. It has dissolved traditional values that gave a social status to women. The lack of opportunities in rural areas is the main cause of the continuous population exodus towards the cities, neighboring countries of Guinea, Western world, and more toward Asia. In this external and internal displacement of women are two categories at least, both of which are equally exposed to tremendous pressures. The first category is of women left in the villages by husbands seeking better living conditions abroad or outside the native areas. These women have little support and have to fend for themselves in order to support their families. Very often they are under the watch of the in-law families that exert on them tremendous power. The second category is of the women who, following their husbands, are displaced in the urban areas or abroad. Inside the country and urban areas, these women are exposed to many risks of political insecurity and very often to social destitution. It leads to either a statute of submission and lives under the shadows of their spouses, with no opportunity of betterment through education. For some of these women, the living conditions in urban areas inside the country or abroad may lead to moral and social conflicts that expose them to prostitution and make them a prime target of social and political violence. It has been documented that women who are victims of sexual violence are outcast in their own society. Numerous cases of outright divorce and rejection by in-law families have been reported when women have been raped. Children, especially girls growing under this pressure are at high risk of failing and perpetuating the woman's status of underclass citizenship. Madam President, ladies and gentlemen, these conditions call for specific solutions. Among them, we call as an initial step for a task force to further study the hidden problems of these populations in order to raise awareness about the afflicting consequences of displacements on women and children. This study will be complemented by pilot micro-projects that could be conducted with communities of exile and internal NGO. Such micro-project will include microfinance and targeted programs of economic activities that will lead to relocation to the villages of origin. Education will be the pillar to make these programs sustainable in the long term. These modest steps will go a long way in reversing the trend that is depriving villages in Guinea and in Africa of crucial and precious workforce. Let me pause and say that Guinea-Conakry is called the reservoir of water because in Guinea we have the source of the river that is all over our neighbors. I think for me, when we talk about water, water is a source of life. The situation in Guinea, what we will need really for women in the rural area will be to help them to preserve the water. The water is there, to purify the water. The major problem we have is in the urban area in Guinea, which is Conakry and so forth. People, the way my colleague described here, how people fetch water and put big gallons of water in cars or sometimes carry on their heads is a common problem in Guinea. But we have a bigger threat. The reason for my speech about stability and security in Guinea, because if Guinea has not been helped, if we didn't have a solution to educate the world about what is going on, we might not use the natural resources that God gave to Guinea. That is one point. Because of the war, because of the continuous harassment by military forces against people, especially women. How many of you in September 28, 2009 have seen the scene I described when I began my speech in the media? Has anyone of you witnessed that? Let me, for that matter, read behind the DVD that we're supposed to project here, just a quote of one lady. Can I have that? It's in the back. Thank you. This was a DVD we're supposed to project, but unfortunately we do not have the time. And even if I wanted to insist on that, we do not have the equipment to use that. It's only for 20 minutes. But let me read that. Testimony of a rape victim. As I tried to run from the firing, I saw a few red berets raping a young woman. Red berets mean the military. One of them put his gun in her sex and fired. Wow. She didn't move again. Oh God, every time I think of that girl dying in that way, I can't bear it. As this happened, another red beret grabbed me from behind and said, "Come with me, or I will do the same thing to you." He led me to a military truck with no windows. In it were about 25 young women and about 6 women, including me. After some distance, they stopped and the soldiers told 3 of 4 women to get out. Later, they stopped at a second house where they told the woman who remained to get out. I was immediately led into a room and the door was locked behind me. Some hours later, 3 of them came into the room, all dressed in military and with red berets. One of them had a little container with white powder. He dipped his finger in it and forced it into my nose. Then all of them used me They used me again the next day. But after a while, others came in, 2 by 2. I didn't know how many or who. I felt my vagina was burning and bruised. I was so tired and out of my head. The first 3 of them were watching each other as they raped me. I was there for 3 days. They said, "You don't really think you'll leave here alive, do you?" And at times, argue among themselves. Should we kill her now? No, let's get what we need and then we kill her. At times, I heard another woman crying out from a nearby room, "Please, please, oh my God, this is the end of my life." On the last day at 6 a.m., the soldiers put a cover over my head, drove for some time, and then let go on a street corner, completely, let me go on a street corner, completely naked. Please write this website, justiceinguinee.org. Log on and get the information. We need help to bring the word out. At last, let me conclude my speech. That to say, you can be assured that the women of Guinea abroad, inside the country, remains committed to working in identifying the root cause of their plight. In them, you will always find strong allies in the global fight for women empowerment, for it remains the best and shortest avenue of social promotion. Thank you so much. Kadiatou Diallo. If Sharon, you want to say the statistic, or that's okay? Yeah, you can do that quickly. Yeah.
All right. I was just going to give the statistics of the atrocities that occurred in the massacre of September 2009. The UN Commission found that at least 156 people were killed. There were at least 109 instances of sexual violence. At least 77 women were raped. At least 42 of those women were raped by multiple soldiers. And the horrific description that Kadiatou read about having weapons fired into vaginas, at least 6 people had that women had that happen to them. So those are the statistics. No one's been held accountable for it. So far, 1 person's been charged in Guinea. No one's been charged at the ICC. And like she said, just go to the website. It has more information, justiceinguinee.org.
Justice in Guinea. Guinea is Guinea.
Thank you. Our next panelist, she's going to speak just for a few moments with us. Sister Viola Plummer, she's the chair of the December 12th Movement International Secretariat. Viola Plummer has been an activist for over 50 years. From her time as youth chairperson of the NAACP New York chapter, through her involvement with the African Liberation Support Committee, Mobilization Committee Against Police Brutality, and numerous coalitions, her dedication to the liberation of Black people has been steadfast. Ms. Plummer is a teacher by training, and she has changed the lives of many through her organizing in unions, in community-based organizations, and as part of the Pan-African movement, linking struggles domestically to those on the African continent for revolution. Please welcome.
Allah wada dago ha Yande go nunu nanudo andi mi andi be andai do andi